Hello, my friend. Welcome back to English with Thomas. If you are listening to this right now, wherever you are in the world, I want you to know something first. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not failing at English, or at life, or at learning. You are exactly where you need to be. Today, I want to talk about something simple, but deeply important. Something that many of us feel, but rarely talk about with honesty and kindness. Today, I want to talk about why slow learning works best, not just for English, but for understanding, for confidence, for becoming yourself in a new language. I know that the world around us moves very fast. Everything is about speed, fast results, quick progress, fluency in 30 days. Speak like a native in 3 months. Learn 10,000 words as quickly as possible. And when we cannot keep up with that speed, we often blame ourselves. We think, why am I so slow? Why do I forget? Why do I need more time than others? Maybe you have felt this too. So today, I invite you to slow down with me. Not to stop learning, not to give up, but to change the rhythm, to breathe inside the language, to let English become something you live with, not something you chase. Let me begin with a small story. A few years ago, I was sitting in a quiet cafe early in the morning. It was one of those places that opens before the city fully wakes up. The light was soft. The cups were still warm from washing. The air smelled like coffee and bread. Across from me sat a student. She was nervous. I could see it in her hands, the way she held her notebook too tightly. She told me she had been learning English for years, many years. Courses, apps, videos, textbooks. But, Thomas, she said, I still feel slow. When I speak, my mind freezes. I translate. I doubt every sentence. She paused, then added something very important. I feel stupid. When she said that, the room became very quiet for me, not because of the cafe, but because of the weight of that sentence. I feel stupid. I looked at her and said gently, You are not slow. You are careful. You are listening. You are feeling the language. She did not believe me at first. Most people don't, because we have learned to associate speed with intelligence, fast answers, fast speech, fast progress. But language does not grow like a machine. It grows like a person. Think about how you learned your first language. You did not rush. You did not study grammar charts. You listened. You repeated. You made mistakes. You were slow. And that slowness was full of meaning. Slow learning is not empty time. It is living time. Let me tell you another small scene. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child stands up, falls down, stands up again. Nobody says, You are too slow. Nobody says. Other children walk faster. We understand that the body needs time. Muscles need time. Balance needs time. Language is the same. When you learn English slowly, you are building balance. You are training your ear. You are allowing your mind to rest inside sentences instead of pushing them out too quickly. I remember my own experience learning another language. I wanted to speak beautifully. I wanted to sound confident. So I tried to speak fast. I copied native speakers. I rushed my words, and every time I felt tense. My shoulders were tight. My breathing was shallow. My mind was afraid of mistakes. One day, an older teacher listened to me and smiled. He said, Why are you running? I said, Running. Yes, he said. You are running through the language instead of walking with it. That sentence stayed with me. Walking with the language. Slow learning is walking. Fast learning is often running without seeing the road. Now, I want you to imagine your own learning journey. Maybe you started with excitement, new words, new sounds, new possibilities. Then, slowly, pressure entered, comparison entered, expectations entered. You began to think in numbers, vocabulary size, test scores, levels, and maybe you forgot how it feels to simply sit with a sentence and let it touch you. So let us return to that feeling now. I want to share a very simple sentence. Take your time. Repeat after me, slowly. Take your time. Again, take your time. This sentence is not only advice, it is permission. When you take your time, you hear the music of English. You notice stress, rhythm, emotion. You notice how words connect to feelings, not just meanings. Think about another sentence. I'm still learning. Repeat it with me. I'm still learning. Notice how gentle this sentence is. It does not rush. It does not judge. It simply states a truth. I'm still learning. Say it again, but this time, say it to yourself. Not to me. Now, let me return to storytelling. There was a period in my life when I stopped studying quickly. I stopped chasing progress. Instead, I chose one short story in English. Just one. I read it slowly, every day. Sometimes only one page. Sometimes only one paragraph. I read it aloud. I listened to the sound of my own voice. I repeated sentences that felt beautiful. I did not ask. How much did I learn today? I asked. Did I understand? Did I feel something? After a few weeks, something surprising happened. My speaking became calmer. My sentences became clearer. Not because I learned more, but because I learned deeper. Slow learning creates depth, and depth creates confidence. Fast learning often creates surface knowledge. You know many words, but you are not comfortable with them. You recognize them, but they do not belong to you yet. Slow learning allows words to become yours. Think about the word comfortable, not just its meaning, its feeling. When you are comfortable, your body relaxes, your breath slows, your mind opens. That is how English should feel. Now, let us reflect gently on language. When we speak slowly, we give ourselves time to choose words. We reduce fear. We allow mistakes to pass without panic. I often tell my students, fluency is not speed. Fluency is ease. Ease comes from familiarity. Familiarity comes from repetition. And repetition takes time. Try this phrase. It's okay to be slow. Repeat it. It's okay to be slow. Again, softly. It's okay to be slow. This sentence may feel strange at first, because many of us were taught the opposite. Faster is better. Faster is smarter. But language learning is not a race. There is no finish line where someone gives you a medal and says, "You are done." Language is a relationship, and relationships need time. Maybe you have experienced this. You meet someone new. At first, conversations are careful. You think before you speak. You are polite, maybe a little tense. Over time, you relax, you joke, you speak freely. You do not rush intimacy. You let it grow. English is the same. When you slow down, you allow trust to grow between you and the language. I want to share one more personal moment. Sometimes students tell me, "Thomas, when I listen to you, everything feels slower." And I like it. That is not an accident. That is a choice. I choose to speak slowly because I want you to feel safe inside English. I want you to feel that you belong here, even with mistakes, even with pauses, even with uncertainty. Silence is part of language. Thinking is part of speaking. Forgetting is part of learning. Slow learning gives space to all of this. Now, let us practice together. Gently, think about your day today. Just one small moment. Maybe drinking tea. Maybe walking. Maybe sitting quietly. Describe it in one sentence, slowly, in English. Take your time. There is no correct answer. There is only your experience. Now, try another sentence. Today, I noticed. Repeat it. Today, I noticed. Complete the sentence in your own way. This is slow learning. Awareness before accuracy. When you notice your life, English becomes a tool to express it, not a test to pass. Sometimes, I think we forget why we learn languages at all. It is not to impress. It is not to compete. It is to connect, to say, this is who I am. This is what I feel. This is how I see the world. And that kind of communication cannot be rushed. Let me say something important, especially if you feel frustrated. If learning feels heavy, slow down. If learning feels confusing, slow down. If learning feels painful, slow down. Speed does not solve confusion. Presence does. When you listen slowly, you hear patterns. When you speak slowly, you hear yourself. When you read slowly, meaning settles. I want you to imagine English as a river. If you run along the river, you see only flashes. If you sit by the river, you notice reflections, sounds, movement. Slow learning is sitting by the river, and you do not need to sit there forever. But you need to sit there long enough to understand the flow. I often say this quietly to myself, and I will share it with you now. I am allowed to learn at my own pace. Repeat it. I am allowed to learn at my own pace. Again, I am allowed to learn at my own pace. This sentence removes pressure, and pressure is one of the biggest enemies of fluency. Now, as we move toward the end of our time together today, I want to speak to you not as a teacher, but as a fellow learner. Sometimes I feel slow too. Sometimes I doubt. Sometimes I repeat the same mistakes. And I remind myself that learning is not about proving something. It is about becoming comfortable with not knowing yet. Slow learning teaches patience, and patience teaches confidence. You are not falling behind. You are building something strong. Every sentence you repeat slowly is a brick. Every word you feel deeply is a foundation, and one day you will look back and realize that your slowness was your strength. So tonight, or this morning, or whenever you are listening, I invite you to do one thing. Choose one small piece of English, one sentence, one paragraph, one story. Stay with it. Read it. Listen to it. Speak it. Feel it. Let English walk with you, not run away from you. You are not just learning English. You are learning how to be patient with yourself, how to listen, how to trust the process. And that skill will stay with you far beyond language. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself. And as we continue together, I want to stay right here in this quiet space we've created. There is no need to rush to the ending, because learning itself does not rush toward conclusions. It moves in circles, returns to familiar places, deepens what already exists. When I talk about slow learning, I am not asking you to do less. I am asking you to do something different, to change the quality of your attention. Many learners think slow means weak, but in reality, slow is strong. Slow means you are present. Slow means you are listening not only to English, but to yourself while you are using it. I want you to imagine this for a moment. You are speaking English, and you are not afraid of silence. You pause. You breathe. You search for the right word calmly, without panic. The other person waits, and you continue. That moment of pause is not failure. It is intelligence in motion. In fast learning, silence feels dangerous. In a slow learning, silence feels natural. Let me share another memory. I once had a student who spoke very little in class. Other students spoke quickly, confidently, sometimes loudly. This student listened. He nodded. He wrote notes slowly, carefully. One day, near the end of the course, he spoke not a lot, but when he did, his words were clear. His sentences were thoughtful. His voice was steady. After class, I asked him, "Why don't you speak more?" He smiled and said, "I am still listening." That answer taught me more than any teaching book ever did. Listening is learning. Silence is learning. Slowness is learning. If you feel quiet in English, it does not mean you are empty. It means you are full of observation. Now, let us look gently at another idea that many learners struggle with forgetting. When you learn slowly, you will still forget words. You will still forget expressions. This is normal. Forgetting is not the opposite of learning. Forgetting is part of learning. Think about walking a familiar path. Sometimes you forget small details. Then one day, you notice them again, more clearly than before. Each time you forget and remember again, the word becomes stronger. Fast learning often tries to avoid forgetting by forcing repetition without feeling. Slow learning allows forgetting, then welcomes remembering. I often say this quietly to myself, and you can say it with me now. Forgetting does not mean failing. Repeat it. Forgetting does not mean failing. Again, slowly. Forgetting does not mean failing. When you repeat this sentence, you are not practicing grammar. You are practicing kindness toward yourself. Now, let us return to language again, gently. There is a phrase I love in English. Little by little. Repeat it. Little by little. This phrase carries wisdom. It accepts time. It accepts imperfection. It trusts accumulation. Little by little, you understand more. Little by little, your ear becomes sharper. Little by little, your voice becomes steadier. And one day, without a clear moment of change, you realize that English feels familiar. Not perfect, familiar. That is real progress. I want you to notice something important. When you listen to this podcast, you are already learning slowly. You are allowing English to enter your life as sound, as rhythm, as emotion. You are not memorizing lists. You are experiencing language. That is why graded readers, stories, calm listening, they work so well. They respect the human nervous system. They allow language to settle instead of attack. Stress blocks learning. Calm opens it. If you feel relaxed right now, that is not an accident. That is the condition your brain needs to grow. Now, let me ask you something. Softly, when was the last time you enjoyed English without judging yourself? Think about it. Maybe it was a song, a video, a story, a sentence that made you smile. That moment mattered. That moment was learning. I want you to try something simple tomorrow or later today. Do not measure your learning. Do not test yourself. Do not count new words. Just notice how English feels. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Does it feel interesting? Does it feel distant? There is no correct answer. Awareness is enough. Slow learning begins with noticing. I remember a time when I tried to learn too fast again. Even as a teacher, I sometimes forget my own advice. I wanted results. I wanted proof. And I felt tired, resistant, disconnected. So I stopped. I returned to slow listening. One voice, one story, repeated many times. And slowly my curiosity returned. Curiosity is the true engine of learning, not pressure, not fear. When you slow down, curiosity has space to breathe. I want to offer you another sentence to practice. Say, I'm curious about. Repeat it. I'm curious about. Finish the sentence in your own mind. About English, about a word, about a story, about yourself. Curiosity moves gently, but it moves far. Now, as our time continues, I want to say something clearly and honestly. If you learn slowly, some people may not understand. They may ask, why are you still learning? Why are you not fluent yet? Their questions come from a fast world, not from truth. Your journey does not need to be explained. Learning slowly is an act of self-respect. You are choosing depth over performance, meaning over speed, and that choice will serve you not only in English, but in life, because life, too, cannot be rushed. Moments of understanding arrive when we stop pushing. I believe this deeply. You do not become fluent by forcing English into your mouth. You become fluent by allowing English to live inside you. That takes time. That takes patience. That takes trust. And if today all you did was listen, that is enough. If all you did was understand a little more, that is enough. If all you did was feel calmer, that is more than enough. Slow learning works because it aligns with who we are as humans. You are not a machine. You are a living, feeling, thinking person. And you deserve a way of learning that honors that. As we stay together for a few more moments, let us return to breathing with language. Take one slow breath and say quietly, inside or out loud, I am learning, not fast, not slow, just learning. And that is a beautiful place to be. And I want to remain with you in this quiet understanding for a little longer, because this space is rare. In many parts of our lives, we are pushed to hurry, to prove, to perform. But here, with English, we can choose something gentler. Slow learning teaches us to stay with a word even when it feels unfamiliar, to stay with a sentence even when it feels awkward, to stay with ourselves even when doubt appears. Most people leave too early. They move on before meaning has time to settle. But you are here. You are listening. And that already says something important about you. There is a moment in slow learning that I love very much. It is the moment when a sentence you once struggled with suddenly feels natural. Not exciting, not dramatic, just normal. You read it and your body does not react. No tension, no effort. That is when you know the language has arrived inside you, not because you pushed it there, but because you gave it time. Let me describe that feeling more clearly. Imagine opening a book in English. At first, your mind is busy, translating, checking, questioning. But as you continue, slowly, something changes. You stop translating every word. You start understanding in pictures, in feelings. Time disappears. That is deep learning. And it cannot be forced. I often say that fast learning lives in the head, but slow learning lives in the body. When English enters your body, your shoulders relax, your breathing becomes steady, Your voice sounds like you, and this is something many learners want. Even if they do not say it out loud, they want to sound like themselves in English. Not perfect, not native, just real. Slowness protects that authenticity. When you rush, you borrow other people's voices. When you slow down, you discover your own. I want you to think about your own voice for a moment. Not how correct it is, not how fluent it is, but how honest it is. Do you allow yourself to speak honestly in English? Or do you try to sound right all the time? Slow learning invites honesty. It allows you to say simple things with depth. For example, this sentence, I don't know yet. Repeat it with me. I don't know yet. This sentence is powerful. It accepts the present moment without fear. It keeps the future open. Fast learning is afraid of yet. Slow learning welcomes it. Yet means growth is happening quietly. Now, let me share something very personal. Sometimes, when I prepare these episodes, I speak the words out loud before recording. I listen to the silence between sentences. I ask myself, does this feel rushed? If it does, I slow down, because I know you are listening not only with your ears, but with your nervous system. If I rush, you feel pressure. If I slow down, you feel permission. And I want to give you permission not only to learn slowly, but to live slowly inside the language. Think about how many times you have replayed a sentence in your mind because you did not say it perfectly. How many times you judged yourself after speaking. Slow learning teaches us to let sentences go. You speak, it passes. You continue. That is fluency too. Fluency is movement, not perfection. I want you to try another gentle sentence now. I'll get there. Repeat it. I'll get there. Say it again. But this time, imagine saying it to yourself kindly. I'll get there. Notice how this sentence trusts time. It does not demand proof. It does not ask when. It simply believes. Belief is a quiet force. Many learners believe they are bad at languages. They carry this belief like a heavy bag. Slow learning allows you to put that bag down. You stop asking, am I good or bad? You start asking, am I present or absent? Presence changes everything. Let us return to one more story. I once met someone who learned English very late in life. Much later than most people start. He spoke slowly, very slowly. But when he spoke, people listened. His words were chosen carefully. His sentences were full of intention. He told me, I don't speak much, but when I do, I mean it. That is the beauty of slow learning. It creates meaning, not noise. In a fast world full of noise, meaning stands out. Now, as we approach the final part of our journey today, I want to leave you with a different way to measure progress. Do not ask, how fast am I improving? Ask instead, how calm do I feel when I use English? Calm is a sign of growth. Comfort is a sign of learning. Ease is a sign of fluency. These signs appear quietly. If you rush, you miss them. So tonight, or tomorrow, or the next time you study, try this. Sit comfortably. Choose something small. Give it your full attention, and then stop. Let learning rest, because learning continues even when you are not trying. The brain connects, the ear adjusts, the language settles. Slow learning works because it trusts this invisible work. And you can trust it too. You are not behind. You are not slow. You are exactly where learning happens, and I am grateful you chose to be here with me, in this moment, in this rhythm. And as we gently come to the end of this time together, I want you to notice how you feel right now, not what you remember, not what you understood perfectly, but how your body feels, how your mind feels, how your relationship with English feels in this moment. If you feel a little calmer, that matters. If you feel a little more patient, that matters. If you feel less alone in your learning, that matters. Slow learning leaves traces like that. Quiet traces, but real ones. You do not need to change everything about how you learn after listening to this. You do not need a new plan, a new schedule, or a new promise to yourself. Sometimes, the most powerful change is simply a softer attitude. The next time you open a book in English, notice your breathing. The next time you listen to someone speak, allow silence to exist. The next time you search for a word, do not rush to punish yourself. Learning is not something you force. It is something you allow, and the slower you allow it, the deeper it goes. I want you to remember this one simple truth and carry it with you quietly, without pressure. You are not learning English to be fast. You are learning English to be free. Free to express, free to connect, free to be yourself in another language. And freedom is never rushed. So wherever you are right now, walking, resting, studying, or simply listening, I hope you let this feeling stay with you. This feeling of permission. This feeling of trust. You are doing enough. You are moving forward. And your pace is right. This is English with Thomas. I'm Thomas. Keep speaking, keep growing, and keep trusting yourself.